belongs to my ex-wife and myself. We have licensed a few people for Berserk over the years. My first boat was named Evil Otto because Evil Otto paid for that boat. Yeah.
I was curious if you had any insider stories about a certain pinball machine that was rumored for a long, long time and surfaced probably about 4 years ago or so, Laser Lord by Stern. And I guess there was only one made, and it finally surfaced probably 4 or 5 years ago. And essentially, there was literature about it, and it looks exactly like Quicksilver. Obviously, with different rethemed and different graphics.
Yeah, that was it. I really don't remember much about it. That's it. You know, it's two different Sterns, of course. There's Stern Electronics and Stern Pinball.
Yeah.
And so I'd have to go back in my notes, or I'll call Shelley. She remembers more. I'm 71. I don't remember everything.
Hey Gary, how you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you. But then I'm always wonderful.
I got 2 questions for you. One, I'm an operator. How do I join the Stern Army? How does my location join the Stern Army?
You talk to John Viscalia back there. John, hold up your hand. Yeah, he's the man.
All right. My second question, it's on all of our minds. Where's Batman? We would love to see it.
We're here for IAPA. And we come to this show, and basically the games we have here are for IAPA. IAPA is an operators show. We haven't started to ship Batman yet, and we'll start shipping it, end of the month or so. But this is an operator show, so basically you're going to see here at IAPA, you'll see pro models. You'll see a premium that we've got a few left to sell, but the operator business, and the exception to, I say that the pro is the right model for the operator. Economically it is, unless you have a location that is enthusiast based, and at which point you may want to spend the money on the more expensive game because you'll bring in the enthusiast, and that's different than the mass market. But it's an operator show. They're not the Batman customer, so we're concentrating on what we need to sell here. This is not only an operator show. It's not a street operator show to speak of. It's mostly I'm talking about IAPA. It's a FEC and parks show. It's not a bar show. It's not a barcade. You don't see many street operators here. Jim Belcito's here, but he's here because he brings his family to Disney World and he competes, and then he'll go one day. He'll spend one day at IAPA. He told me yesterday. So it's a different show. It's a different. We go to we come to some enthusiast shows like this, very important. You're an important part of our market. But we display at the commercial show. There's 2 commercial shows that we display at. And then sometimes at other location-based shows, the bar and nightclub show that has bar owners, the bowling show, things like that for bowling alleys. That type of thing. So we're basically, over half of our business is commercial, and in this country we may be more than half non-commercial, not operators. But if I take Italy for example, we're probably 97% operator-based business. So it varies from country to country and place to place. Yes, sir.
Sure. I just wanted to mention that a while back you were telling us to go talk to the bars and all that to try and get the pinball machines in. For a while, last couple of years that I've seen you here, I never could do it. Finally, this one gentleman who finally bought, we have a Beef O'Brady's, and finally the guy was going to sell it, get rid of it, and then he decided to buy the Beef O'Brady's and keep it going. But next door to the left, they had this is a casino kind of thing.
Yeah.
And So that casino thing just went belly up because they couldn't because of all the Indians.
Yeah.
Anyway, they decided to break the little part of the wall over on the side, and he wanted to put an arcade in. So he put a whole bunch of the, driving and all that stuff. But I talked to him and said, how about a pinball or two? Because he's had pinball machines in there from other people. And he says, I kind of like pinball. And he looked into it. He was talking to whoever was involved. And he was able to get a Metallica premium and a Ghostbusters premium.
Okay, so there you go.
Put
If
it
you
right
talk to
in
people, maybe you can get people on games on the street. There's a good example.
And it was
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Will we ever see cabinet support for the Stern Pinball Arcade?
Cabinets, you mean will we ever, I think I understand your question. You're saying will the digital games be made available, will we support a cabinet? We don't have any plan to do that. I think our license would allow that. I don't know. We don't have a plan. I don't say, so the answer is I don't know.
How about PlayStation VR?
This is all, the far side and is working out all the different platforms that they're going to be on, and which VR. Right now we're with our VR is with Oculus, and with the Samsung thing. And don't use Samsung 7s, by the way. You might burn your eyes out, but whatever.
Is Batman 66 going to be playable at IAPA next week? We'll be at the show.
We're really, it's an operator show, and so we have mostly pros there. Yes, ma'am.
Quick point about expanding your player market. I started playing in college, and I was wondering what the activity level of interest is in college campuses in and around. Because I went there, frankly, because that's where all the guys went. So you might expand that way.
Yes, no, you're absolutely, you're right, John, you're that. We know in our area, there's at University of Illinois, there's a great barcade down there. Now, of course, you know that college kids aren't supposed to go to the bars. You know that because they're not 21. So, and I don't know how that happens.
We had arcades with no alcohol.
Yeah, arcades per se. Yeah, to what extent are there arcades per se? There are some. I know in Colorado, in Fort Collins, there's a place that has beer, but it also has a lot of games, and you don't have to be 21 to go there. In Wyoming, in Cheyenne, what's the city? Cheyenne. Yeah, where Bob is, Cheyenne. He's got a bar in it, but it's sort of walled off. Although you can take beer in any part of it, but he's more family oriented. So there is some of that that does exist. But going back to the colleges, we certainly need to do more education in the colleges. And once again, put the games on here. And every college kid's got one of these, and they're playing with these more than they are in high school kids and everything else. And so that we're doing what we can to introduce in that respect.
So I had a follow-up question
Yeah.
about that. In terms of girls playing, they will go play pinball because that is where the guys are. Have you thought about doing a machine maybe that reflects one of the games that everybody plays, at least a lot of girls do, Candy Crush?
Yeah, we need to, again, we're a white male sport, and we need to, I know, I'm totally agreeing with you. The problem is that you need to do something that, a title like a Ghostbusters that's more across the board. Or we thought back in the day when we did Lethal Weapon 3 that Mel Gibson would help us, things like that, but doesn't necessarily work out. So I have to think that's going to be, we got to be a little less. I always say, John, that we ought to do Hello Kitty because that is such a huge license everywhere. And there's a little air hockey game, but on short legs for kids to play. I don't have an answer that's any good for that. Let me get in the back there.
What's the deal with Dave and Buster's? The swing by my house and doesn't have a pinball.
Not a pinball in it, and we're talking. We have to make a presentation to them, and they are. They do a lot of. They were doing a lot of concern with like a grocery store, the earnings per square foot. But now they're starting to talk about what's called utility in our business, keeping people in a long time. And we need to make a presentation. We talked to the gentleman who's he made a great presentation to the Game Association, the Manufacturers and Distributors Association, and we chatted with them after. We need to make a presentation to them to show why it makes sense. We are in some other FECs now, and we need to expand it. But that is, you know, a definite sore thumb. You're absolutely right.
Here's Steve Ritchie wants to do a My Little Pony.
It doesn't sound like Steve to me.
That was a big joke on his webpage.
Go ahead. What was it?
Facebook page.
I'm the proud owner of KISS Limited Edition, and the game, it's a beautiful game. It's got a great layout, and but next to my Metallica and AC/DC, there's a severe code. The code is very lacking in that game.
We've updated. I'm surprised. We've updated the code. A lot of times we've got a lot more into it, and there is one more sometime update coming that I'm aware of. That it's not that we, you know, we think that it's missing something, but there is one more to be done. You know, our software guys are not coders; they're game designers. They do game rules, and so. They, you know, and all of them have different ideas of what a game should be. That game actually has had, you know, Lonnie worked and then Lyman added to it. So there's a lot of different, you know, variety of work done in it that should be good. So we are doing one more, and if, you know, I can't tell you that you're going to love it next to Metallica or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the cities features on there. There's a lot of. It just seems like it's very lacking compared to AC/DC or Metallica. And there's been a lot of criticism on the forums, on pinball forums, among collectors and players. So
We've added a lot to it, and we'll see what you think about the next time. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm from Jacksonville. We have a Dave & Buster's there. I've been pestering them every time I go in there. Why don't you have any pinball machines?
Yeah,
And they always tell me the same thing. They don't make enough revenue. And I said, well, if they were here, they would make revenue, because I come in every day if you have some pinball.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, there is we're doing something with in Arizona with time zone. Huh? Time zone. It's nickels and dimes, so they call it times. They call it something else at that location. And what they've done is they basically built in the FEC. It's a grown-up FEC, and they built a barcade in it, and they've got some of the 80s video. You know, these barcades are full of 80s video that are easy to learn, hard to master, and that's what a pinball's supposed to be. The new videos are too complicated. Once again, that's, you know, they were classic games. So we're going to use that as an example, and we have to make a presentation to Dave & Buster's. Yes, sir.
On that Dave & Buster's thing, I've noticed it seems to me they've trended more towards kids and ticket games. We talked about
We have a ticket add-on for pinball, but that's operated separate. We know a few people who do it successfully in a separate area, in the redemption area. What we really need to do, but it's not where it's most successful. There is a unrelated time zone in Australia, which has gotten the IAPA award 2 of the last 3 years as best FEC in the country, in the world. And they have a pinball club for enthusiasts with the pinball machines over here, and they operate the redemption machines, pinballs with the redemption games over here. So if there was redemption, you wouldn't be playing it because you'd be over here. That's what they found, you know, it worked.
I just have one more quick question. Would it be a viable option for you guys as a pinball company, like Williams did with their Defender pinball machine, for you to actually maybe put out a pinball themed on one of your old games, like say Berserk, you know, put out a Berserk pinball machine.
Yeah, yes, but even more, we've talked to various of the strong video, the current video titles, and there's one or two that we like, and then we have to question whether the video player will play the pinball or not. Will they switch over? We'd love to get them involved, but we've talked to some of them.
Curious if everything has to, you know, if you guys would risk creating a title that wasn't themed on a band
We
or
have,
a movie or something.
you bring up an interesting with risk. We have 3 magic bullets a year at most. You know, Ghostbusters was a super magic bullet. Great, okay? But we have 3 magic bullets, and so we've got to be a little careful as to what we're doing, because there's only 3 bullets a year. And if one of those bullets is a blank, because we're different than, again, we're trying to service the entire market, and we're trying to make more than, you know, a model a year or this or that. We need that variety to pay. If we're going to have a company that's based on making multiple models a year, multiple titles a year and multiple models, different models, and not just a little bit of decoration different, we need to have a large staff. And if we have a large staff and we shoot a blank, one of those 3 is a blank, then we're going to suffer greatly. You know, this is a business, and we have to remember that it has to be run like a business. There's a business plan. There's a 70-some page business plan every year, and it is run like a business. It has to be. Yes, sir.
Obviously, it's working with the licensing groups and having major names already associated with a lot of the games that are coming out. But what comes first? Does CERN proactively designing games and then soliciting?
No, they're designed, you know, if you take the old days of pinball, you look at the old days of Gottlieb, and they design a game and it's got a 4-bank in it or something. So they say, okay, what can we call this game that's got 4 letters or something like that, or what would make sense? They would often design a game without a theme in mind. But the games were very simple then. Today, the games are tailored to the title. I mean, you've got molded toys in it. You got a Slimer. You didn't design a game with this or that on it without thinking about knowing what the title's going to be. So it's title first.
Okay. Do they come to you for the most part, though, looking for a game? Are we being solicited?
Some of this, yes and no. We do. We go to the licensing show and meet a lot of people. Sometimes they come to us. Often we go to them. Yes and no. Yes and no. Both.
Yes,
Okay, you go ahead. Then I got to get the people behind
I
you.
had 2 follow-up questions.
Yeah.
One was, from Jacksonville, have you considered a Leonard Skinner paper? And my second question was, have you considered licensing Big Bang Bar from Capcom and remaking that?
The Big Bang Bar, I think the Capcom titles belong to Planetary. I believe they belong to Planetary. I don't know that. The guys talk about it. I'm 71. I really don't pick rock and roll titles. I let the other guys do that.
But Leonard Skinner goes back.
Yeah, I know. But I'm 71. I'm not the one who should be picking all the current titles. I participate, but I'm a little past the market. So listen, if it was up to me, I'd go make a game for Reeves to carry a global public square or something like that. And and I don't think anybody played it. It'd be might as well be whatever. Next, yes, sir.
What part does Twitch and the online gaming site where they share the videos?
Oh, it's great. Jack Danger's a friend of ours, and we think it's a great way to show the game and the attributes of it, the play of it, and so forth. I've been over to his place with my daughter and future son-in-law. They've been out to dinner with him. It's just them and his wife without me. He's a friend of the company. We think he's great. And he was the MC at our 30th anniversary party. Yes, sir.
Is there a goal eventually to get the pinball arcade video games released in the same year as your Stern games?
If I had a dream, what we would do is we would remember this system, this bus system is scalable. It can do things in the future. So if I had a dream, we would come out with the game by Farsight at the same time as our game, or at least a teaser, with a locator and have GPS in the pinball and so forth. So is there a plan? There's a dream. I can't tell you there's a plan yet, but there's a dream. The technology will let us do many, many different things. Although we were talking about GPS in a pinball once to see what country it was in, to be sure we were in the right country. And Eugene Jarvis and I, he's a friend of mine, it's Raw Thrills, king of design. And we're talking about it, and it was, well, okay, but if the game's in a basement somewhere, or under a parking lot, the GPS isn't gonna work. So there's all kinds of stuff involved, but the GPS on it would be cool. Anything else, folks? There's two here, one in front of the other.
Title I can't believe they haven't licensed and done as a pinball machine yet is The Matrix. Has there ever been called?
Well, we did a game called Lord of the Rings that George Gomez designed.
Which is an amazing game. Right?
And he wanted to do, and I thought, okay, if we did The Matrix between, you want to, we often do sequels because there's assets available. Whereas when you do the first movie, you don't get assets. Right? So Lord of the Rings have been out, the first ones and so forth, and yet the books were around and so forth. So I got a second Lord story to tell you. So we did. He wanted to do Matrix, and I said, okay, maybe we'll be between movie 2 and movie 3. I forced him into doing Lord of the Rings. I said, no, we're not doing Matrix. You have to do Lord of the Rings. It was great. And by the way, Matrix 2 died. We would have had that blank in our gun had we done Matrix. So yes, there was consideration given to it. Luckily, we didn't do it at that time. But interesting. Listen, I almost licensed years ago. What is it's a Harrison Ford movie he actually didn't like, which is a cult classic now, Blade Runner. And when we first saw that, we said, huh? But there is a great, it would have died. It would have died if we had licensed it, because the movie is a cult classic now, but wasn't then. And it had switched the end of it to be a happy ending and this and that, which is bullshit. Pardon my French. It wasn't. That's not the way it was supposed to be. So, you can pick things, and you pick the wrong one. I didn't want to do Titanic. Joe did, because I didn't like. I was reading the script, and I didn't like the part where the third-class kids are, they're stuck down behind the, they'll let us out later, And I said, this is going to be. Well, I was wrong. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
The Marvel movies have done well worldwide, especially in China. How is pinball in China? Is there any traction there?
Not yet. We're working on that. In fact, I have a meeting with 2 different people. This show, it's one of my dreams. It's a huge market. China was an arcade market, is an arcade market, and where there is no history of pinball, it doesn't work. We did NBA, our NBA game was originally just for China, and then we sold it everywhere, because we figured Yao Ming and all that. Well, NBA wanted to have 2,000 outlets in China for the jerseys and stuff, and in fact, when we did it, we said, okay, we got Yao Ming, who's very important in Shanghai, but he was the 10th largest seller of jerseys. Kobe was number 1, there. They love basketball there, and that's what we're trying to do. But that was my second attempt. My first attempt I had Eunice. I was at we had some pinballs there, and we were at their. They were opening a new factory, and they had a Lord of the Rings, and these people didn't know what to do with it. They don't know they don't know what a pinball is. They don't know where the start button is, which is a problem anyways for a lot of people. So it needs an education. Now things are changing, and there's street locations in China now. My goal was to get to start a test with some pinball in some expat bars, because the expat bars tend to shift over ultimately maybe to Chinese bars. And also we have some Chinese interest in it. There's a lot of dart machines out on the street in China now, so there may be some potential to it. But it requires more than just plopping a pinball machine there. It's a major product. Now, the other risk, of course, is, if you're real successful, they're going to knock you off. I said I should get so lucky to be that successful that somebody wants to knock me off in China. Any other questions? Have I exhausted you? Yes?
You mentioned that you enjoy travel and eating out before. What have been some of the other things that being in coin-op has done for you and your family over your life?
Well, certainly I make a nice living, and my family's been provided for. I think the most, listen, everybody in this room is lucky. We live well relative. We're not Syrians trying to get to Germany. We all live in a good part of the world. Having said that, I think the most important thing is, as much as we all love pinball, we employ people. We make things. We're not just a service company. We are manufacturers. It's something that we need in this country, and that's what I'm most proud about, is that we are a factory that employs people. We employ them on a daily basis. We probably on any day have 250 people in the building and provide employment for an extended community of 3,000-4,000 people, get part of their part or all of their livelihood from making games for us. We're a real manufacturer. We really do things, and it's really important for America that we have manufacturers that are serious, business plans, tight, run it well. Manufacturing is not for the faint of heart anymore. It's difficult. So we're very proud that we have people that have learned to do this and are good at it. So thank you. It's really important for us. That it, folks?
Short question, real quick. So if we get a lower tax rate for corporations in this country, like it's been talked about, I don't know if the politicians will say what they talk about it. Is that going to enable you to expand your business so that you can do 5-6 games a year, or is that going to be passed on to the consumer with lower price of games because $8,000 is a lot to go for a we need to reinvest, and one of the things that we're a sub-S company, which means the money is whatever it makes, whether we take it out or not, is taxed to the shareholders like me. And so what we do right now is we have a new factory, we borrow money, so forth. We have debt, and I would like to be able to reinvest more. My father always said when he made money, he bought tooling, hard tooling, so that he'd be secure and be able to make things better and cheaper. Will you see a big savings in cost, from it? I think we'd probably rather reinvest the money. But I don't know. First of all, let's see what they do in that respect. Likewise, you have now we're way far afield, but you have health insurance costs where we're testifying in front of the Cook County Commission once, that's our county about. They would talk about raising the license fee on pinball. Okay, so they're talking about how many, I'm standing up there talking about how many people we employ and how it's going to affect them if they raise the taxes. And they start asking me about health insurance. Do our people have health insurance? And I think it was in World War II that we added health insurance as a benefit because wages were locked or something, I don't know. Yeah, we have health insurance, and the family coverage cost me about $8,000, $9,000 a year, my end, the company's end. And that's because the government doesn't want to pay for it. So we're going to lower our taxes, but we're going to put more costs on me one way or another. I can wait and see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. They're all going to fight again, probably.
That's all they do.
Probably. Is that it, folks? That last one, and then we're going to let them have the room back. Oh yeah.
You guys be doing a super LE for your next Cornerstone? I know you guys had a big turnout. People are going crazy to buy a super LE for $15,000. Do you think the next Cornerstone will offer that?
We don't have a plan. We don't have a plan one way or another. The next Cornerstone doesn't have a plan for it. Yes, there is a market. We would probably, if we do that again, we will do it again sometime. I'm not going to say when because we haven't decided. We're not through this one yet. This was sort of a marketing experiment, and what we did is we sold them direct instead of through our dealers and distributors. In the future, we would probably do it through dealers and distributors. We sold it direct because we wanted to see that the price was the same for everyone. And this was, again, a special reward situation, the 30th anniversary. But we know that some dealers and distributors don't necessarily, if they don't make a margin, they can't be a business. And what we're looking for, in order to get that rec room buyer, we need what we call bricks and mortar stores. We need places that are selling things, not just on the internet or not just on the telephone, but are actually places where that buyer can go and see a game. Now, George Gomez had some friends who wanted to buy a pinball machine. Which should we buy? He suggested this or that. These were wealthy people. They lived in, they had a place in Sarasota. Well, for them to see a pinball machine, they got to drive to Curly's, which is, not next door to Sarasota. Ultimately, one would like to have a real store that sells pinballs and other things. I'm not saying pinball alone will carry it, but a real store in certainly your 20 largest metropolitan areas. We don't have one in Chicago. In the city, we have, way outside the city. If we're going to grow this, we need retailers, and we need retailers who run their business like a business, which means they have a margin.
You tried that at Best Buy a few years ago, right?
Yeah, but that's not the right place for it. You're right. We did, and you need it's a specialty product. It's not a mass merchant product. And basically, they put them in, not in Best Buy. We were in Costco, and we've done Sam's Club, and basically they put them in there as babysitters, and we were pretty successful with Sharper Image. But that was years ago, but that's more of a specialty retailer. But it needs a retailer if we're going to grow this. And it may be with the ELG, it may be but the pros and everything. There are more people who would want to have a pinball if they could see it. And the commercial distributors are basically concentrating on commercial business. Whereas the dealers, we need dealers with bricks and mortar stores that somebody can go to and be, treated well and get full service for it and so forth. Not for you guys are different. You can buy games anywhere and you will. But we need to really grow this. We need games on the street, and we need rec room buyers. They're going to throw me out in a minute. Go ahead.
I have a quick comment. You're going to think I'm crazy, but it's a good place to put that. It would sell a lot of pinball machines for Neiman Marcus Christmas catalog.
Actually, years ago, we were in the Neiman Marcus Christmas catalog, and we sold a game. It is really not. People still need their stuff is specialty stuff. We need not mass merchant. That's wrong. That's big box store. We need stores where people can come and play and touch. But we've been in the Neiman Marcus catalog, and you sell 1 or 2 games. That's fact, and that's what happened.
I know a lot of women who would buy them for man caves for their boyfriends, depending on the price point.
Yeah, I know. Well, first of all, now, as soon as we talk about a retailer like Neiman Marcus, they're looking for a margin, okay? And you guys certainly don't pay for a game that has a margin. They're going to look for, John, 50, 100%? At least 40. So I'm going to take a pinball machine that you're paying, you're probably getting a margin of 10, 15, 20%. So you're going to add another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to the pinball machine right away. Huh?
Never mind.
Okay. Well, that's the problem. That's the problem here. We need rec room buyers in order to grow. That is a big growth potential, but they need to touch the game, and they will pay for service. But it's not Neiman Marcus dropping it off. It's white glove delivery and somebody there to call for service and a service contract and everything else. It's somebody really in the business. In the Chicagoland area, yeah, we got Best Buy and all that stuff for your electronics, but you really want something, you go to ABT on the North Shore. If you're on the North Shore of Chicago, which is where I grew up and where I raised my kids, I live downtown. Even downtown, my daughter bought her TV. She, 20, so she worked Best Buy against ABT and got them both to negotiate, but she bought from ABT. With some big TV. They give service. They're wonderful, and everybody buys it. Jim's nodding yes. That's where everybody goes. Anything else, folks, or shall I give them back the room?
Thank you.
I thank you all very much. Thank you, Richard, for the